Transformers reviews, tech and the news, whatever else I use as a muse. Hit subscribe, I appreciate the views. Influences interest on YouTube.
What's going on, people? This is Influence, and today we have Warthog FansToys Powerglide, which is FT-54, and Warthog, I believe that's the plane. Always love this plane. And initial thoughts, or I should say initial review, you know, for those that's new, I usually do initial thoughts where you can click off the video right away. You'll know exactly how I feel about this. And if you ain't got time, you ain't got time, you know, just a little bit what I like to offer. So yeah, getting into initial thoughts. I like the way it looks. It has the real world mixed with the cartoon. I do think this must be an older design. I forget when it was first shown, but I do think it was an older design because I think they would have made it more cartoon accurate. With that said, like I said, I do like the way it looks. As an action figure, it's not great. Pieces are falling off. I got paint scrapage. I know that's always a possibility when you have a FansToys figure because it's painted so well. Now that's the positive. I do love the paint. This symbol right here I put on that is crap. I'm going to take it off. I should have a white back symbol. I can't find none right now, but I think I got a couple. So I'm gonna look. But as I was saying, as a figure, action figure, it's not great. Legs aren't that great. These things, the knees don't work correctly. There's stuff falling apart off of him. He's more floppier. He doesn't have the ratchets that normally are in FansToys figures. And I don't know, just all around feels like a rushed figure to me. Now, like the transformation, I don't like the transformation, I should say. Transformation is super frustrating, especially the legs. But I'm gonna show some tips, of course, how to get it where it needs to be. However, it's not a smooth transformation. It's not a good transformation. But I do like the plane. The plane is the best thing. The plane and the paint. Like, I may be leaving this into plane mode if I can find a stand, and we'll get to that. So let's roll. So here we are with the figure, and you know how I do. I get into accessories first. So let's go into accessories. Put him off to the side. So you get one gun, which is just a single cast, and plastic is painted with that same white that's on his arms. So that's great. You get these two pieces, which are for a flight stand that he can either be on in robot mode or in plane mode. So how you do this is it goes up under here and then goes on the stand. If you see that, there's a little section that has that, and it goes in there, and then you can stand up on the stand. And similar to that with the plane, I will show this when you get the plane mode. However, you gotta have it doesn't come with a stand, so you gotta have a FansToys stand, and the only FansToys stand I have is this one, and I don't know how to put it on. I'm gonna have to figure it out. I'm not sure if you take this off or this top piece off. I don't know, but it's not fitting on this stand that I have. You get the little face mask thing from that episode, and how you do this is you flip this around, then you can stick this in here. And you can see, like, oh, so the card, of course, you know, cards, same as usual. Get the book, peruse the book. I didn't really use it. I used their on screen, their YouTube guide, which is okay. But like I said, I'm gonna show some tricks and tips. And you got the box with all of that. And here's the figure. so we can go over figure overview. And the first thing you'll notice when you get this figure out the box is that it's big. Like it's bigger than I expected. I did expect it to be a little smaller, and I did know that they kind of did the mass shifting with the plane. So the plane is super big. The plane is about as big as a Seeker, which I do like that. I like that a lot. I like that they did the mass shifting, and they did do the mass shifting, but it just isn't as much as I thought, because this is a pretty big figure. You'll see when I compare it to other figures. So that could be a negative for people. It doesn't really bother me, but then again, I don't know if I'm gonna have this guy in robot or not after everything I said. He may be though, because I do like the way he looks. I like all of this. I like the way the wings are. I like the feet. I know people didn't like the feet. I like it because it's like real world stuff turns into what it should be. You can see his face sculpt only gets one face, and that's fine with me though. I don't usually, unless I need to change it, but he has the face mask, so it doesn't change. It does have a little backpack, but I think that's fine. Like it looks good. Paint is great. There's one piece that's rubbing the paint off, and I will show you, and I know why. It's this little peg in there. Unfortunately, it shows in plane mode, so I don't know what I'm gonna do with that. May ask to try to get another piece, but then I'm gonna have to put it on myself, so I'm not sure. Here we are with some FansToys mini bots to compare him with. As you can see, he's pretty towering over them. I'm not sure. I didn't check the Sunbow chart. I know some people don't like that chart, but I mean, it's the only thing we got that's like widespread, where we can figure out what stuff should be relatively compared as scale wise, and I think that's what most companies use, so it may be accurate depending on that chart. And here's DX9's offering, and you can see the difference. I definitely like him better as far as the paint and the way he looks. I like better. I know I may be in the small minority, because I do recognize the differences, like, and I do recognize a lot of people like the feet over here better, and I like what they did with the feet and the, you know, how he looks, but I just like this better. But he is bigger, super bigger. If this was painted like this, it would be better, but I know the proportions over here and just the way he looks is better. I always thought his arms were too long. However, it's up to you. Go over articulation. Head, you can pull up a little bit in order to get some more articulation, which ain't much, which is up about that much, down about that much. You can spin around 360, and that's pretty much it. A little bit of side to side, maybe? No, ain't no side to side. So you got these that you can move out if you want. If you don't care for this look, it doesn't bother me. So then you can move this around like that. Arms go straight up about 90 degrees, a little bit more than 90, but that's about it. Get the double jointed. Yeah, you got a joint here and joint here, which really doesn't matter. I don't know if that joint matters, but they do have the little cutout right here so you can get more than 90, which is good. You get a bicep swivel here. You get hands that move. They're tight. I think they move. Yeah. Spin around. You got a one pin for all the fingers, and they're just like kung fu gripish, and the thumb doesn't do anything. This you can undo a little bit. Let me see. I don't know if you can undo it. No, you can, because it's for transformation. Like, if you undo this, you can get a little ab crunch. There we go. You get a little ab crunch. I guess you can use it. Like, it doesn't look bad. It doesn't look terrible. So you definitely can use it. You can also get the waist swivel around, and you can get that 360. So that's cool. I didn't think that was going to happen. So you do got a crunch and a spin. Now, the skirts on the side are kind of hard to get out because of the wings, the way the wings go down. But you can move this down and get the full splits. It's kind of not right. And also, you can see the waist, like, because the waist isn't supposed to be like that. It's supposed to be tabbed in with that tab right there. It does come out. And also, you see the legs failing because there's no ratchets. No ratchets out. And again, I know they're usually not ratchets out a lot of times because of the A stance. There's no ratchets forward either. Forward and back, you can get, again, let me get that tighter. So he does get the hurdle somewhat, not full, but it's close enough. But then this stuff all falls apart, which is where we start getting to the action figure negatives. Why I said in the beginning it's not a great action figure, because as soon as you start moving around, stuff starts falling out. There's no ratchets in things. These legs don't ever stay together. There's a pin there that comes up and down, and you need that for transformation. But there's also another part that goes up and down. So both of those need to be up in, and you can only move this chrome piece. You can only move it up and down in a certain way. Like when it's this way, where the legs are facing front. As soon as you pull that out and move this, well, it's hard for one to get it to move, but you can see here, you're just moving the bottom and not this pin part or the knee part. And as soon as you move it like that, you can't get that back up in there because it's mainly for transformation. But then when you move it straight, then you can get it back up in there. But again, it doesn't stay. So it is what it is. And you see all this stuff coming out. Now, this kind of has a double joint where you can get more than 90, which is just that pole coming out a little bit to get the more than 90 degrees. But if you have it where it's supposed to be, you can just get 90 as well. I mean, it doesn't give you enough more to worry about it, but it will do it automatically because the knees are not a great feature. You got rolling thigh swivel right here. The feet go all the way down, mainly due to transformation. They can go up like this, but you start to get in the territory of it looking weird, more weird than it does. And then you got swivel or ankle tilt. I mean, not a great deal, but enough. And you can move the feet back and forth about that much. Now this stuff on the leg, once I transformed it once, it does not want to stay. So there's that. And I think that's it for articulation. We will get into transformation. Let's get this turned around again. Now for the arms. Arms are pretty cool. I do like what they did here. So you can move these out like this. Then you want to push this down right there. And then you can move this like this. Then you want to pull this out here. It's probably easier to just pull on this fist like this because it's on like a double hinge. You want to pull it all the way out, like up and out. And I'm using this because I don't have time to fool with it. So you pull that up and out and then close the fist, open that, push that in here, then close it. And you have this, and move these wings out all the way. Move this back here and move that like that, and then you can curl this around this arm like that. Then move that in there. You can move this out, pull that out of here. And then right here, this part is part of the wing. Kind of pull all this out and down. Not the smoothest thing, but in this piece right here will end up like that, and it will fall off also. Then when you pull it down, it went back already, but you want to push this back on this little slider here. Push that back, and then move this. This is like this and like that. So you want to pull that down, move this up, and then down here. Make sure it's back, and you put that up in there like that. As you do that, it pushes this wheel out a little bit. You can pull it out now if you want, but it doesn't matter. Then this spins around. I spun that the wrong way. that tab goes into that right there. So you spin that like that, and then you get that right. Which is why it does get difficult to get this exactly. But anyway, now that you got this up, this tab right here can go into this thing. But you gotta flip this around like that, and then move this down. And you kind of got a wing done, and you just keep it like that. Same thing over here. Flip this down. Move this out like that. Flip this back, so you're moving this out. Should be like this. You can move this wing back if you forgot, like me. Then you can just flip that down now, but then you still gotta get this out. So flip that, flip this in, flip that down like that. Then you have it closed like this. I already moved this down, but just to show it again, you kind of like flip that down like that, and then move this in there. Then you have it tabbed in right there, and you can close this up. Try to get this put that in there like that, and then try to put this up here to kind of close the gap there. Then you can pull this down again. Pull this out of here. And this right here is the thing that I was talking about that goes into the wing right here on this side. This side is fine, but this one, paint is gone. So, I mean, if you ain't scratched up your paint already, if you got this, be careful. You flip this little thing up to stop from holding that, and you can see it bad. That's bad. So then this kind of goes back like that. You flip this thing, so it's like that, and pull this wing out, flip this over, flip that up, then put this in there like that. You can get the wings kind of. And now that that's like that, you can put this in here, and it keeps everything together. Now this right here should smooth apart like that. And you can pull this out of here, flip it around up like that, and you have the landing gear. And this right here, when you got all this out, you can see, pull this out here, flip this gun up. It's gonna cover the little face hole and have the extra gun to make it look a little bigger, how it should be in real life. There you go. And then you flip that back up, and it all tabs there. Get it all tight in together. Good to go. Then you got this landing gear. That works pretty well. Then you can close this. Well, you can do all this first. So once you get all that together, then you can kind of close this down. Then you have this. You spin this around. Then right here, you want to pull this out. It's a little tab here if you got nails, but it's still kind of hard. Pull that out. It also flips off. I'm not sure what it does that for, but then you can move this back. You move it back like this, and it creates the cockpit. And everything will fall apart until the end. Then there's a little tab right here that you can put that on. Now just close this up, and it kind of clamps everything together to keep it all in one spot. Clamp that together, and you're good. Now for the bottom. So pull that down all the way. It's like when I lifted it up, all this should be straight. This will go down here eventually, but you can refrain from using that right now. You want to pull this up here like this, up here like that. You can put this down now. I don't see no harm in it, but it just accordions down on that double hinge right there, and then you can just put it together. Now let's go down a little bit. You got these hips. They're very hard. Be careful. There's not much to hold on to when you're torquing this, but you can pull it out there like that. Kind of goes down again, and this stuff all starts falling apart. This is where it kind of turns for the worse. The upper part isn't bad at all, but this crap starts turning the tide. So here's where I feel like I'm going to break it, and there we go. So then speak it into existence. So you want to move these legs so these holes are on the top. You can see it's on the top. Again, move these legs so these holes are on the top. And definitely want to move the thigh swivel, or try to, as much as possible. So now you can get these wings in, and you can see where that paint is gone. That thing just is gone. So now this you're getting in here. There's a tab. There's a hole, peg hole with a peg there. You get that in there, and let me turn it upside down to show you. This peg is going to peg on by the hip skirts, which is what keeps the wings together. It may fall off again, but we'll just see. And all this is kind of contoured around. So you just put that in there. Make sure ain't nothing going on with this. Yeah, there you go. Like this one went in perfectly fine. Then you move this down and peg that on. It does do a good job of keeping it. I mean, it's better once you get this top part together, but I mean, you can fool all this and get it right. But that's how you want it. And then over here, I don't know why this isn't going in right. Giving me grief, should say. There we go. Like that, and then move that down. And again, it may pop up if you hold it like this, but that's where it is. And now bottom part, pull the feet down all the way like that. We'll get that kind of out the way. So then you can unpeg this, flip that, unpeg this from here, flip this and pull this up. It's on this little, you'll see once you pull it up, there you go. It's on that. Then you can spin this around like this. And this is basically going to be your final. Put that in there like that, and this will be your final kind of. Then you want to pull this. You can see this mechanism a little better. You pull that down and you want to pull this way up. So now you can spin this. What you need to spin is this part right here, which is independent from that chrome part, and the knee is independent from the spin. So you want the spin to be, you want the knee to be out there so you can move this up like this. And then you're going to move this down. You see this goes into there. It's a lot going on. So that's why. And then this is going to clamp around on here. And it's hard to explain, hard to see. But if you have this right, and you may have to tweak it as you're fooling with it, there you go. And then you can get this closer up here, and it spins around like this into this area right here. And as you can see, it goes in, and it's fine as long as you have it correct. Like, it works well as long as it's correct. And there you go. Got that in there, and this is where you need to have it. And there's a peg here that goes into that leg hole. It's the peg hole right there. And then you peg that, and there you go with one side. So, I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but we'll try that again. So unpeg this little thing unpegs. And then you can kind of unpeg that. Unpeg this over here as well. Put that down. Pull this up on this lever right here. Then you can spin this around. Then roll it this way and push this in here like that, so it makes it square, because this is gonna clamp onto this at the end of the day. So then here we go with this again. Make sure you have it all the way out and all the way out on this thing, so you can move it like this, independent of the silver piece and of the knee. So you got to use all of that in order to get it exactly where you need it. And it becomes a pain, but if you get it right, it works. Then you can move this up here like this. And there you go. Then you snap this together. Snap all that together. There's a series of pegs in here you can snap together, and also worry about this thing. Now this is like the hardest piece to get, and that can be frustrating, the leg part right there, if you don't know what you're doing, which is why I just gave that little long tutorial on that little piece. Them little pieces may seem, you know, like, why am I taking so long to transform it? But those little pieces are frustrating, and this right here is frustrating. So I'll go through the frustration so you don't have to. Now you still will. If you, unfortunately, you still will, because this thing is, there we go. Got that, and then squeeze all this up here. You can see that peg kind of halfway in there. Peg right there. There we go. There we go. Doesn't feel good. Doesn't feel like great materials. Like, it doesn't feel like FansToys materials. Then you move that down there. Now you're kind of at the home stretch. So let's see. Move this. Pull this all out. Everything can flip out. So flip this out. pull that out, flip this all out, and there's a little wing section in there that you pull out. And then you can move this. This moves exactly where you need it to. You can tell. You can see this little peg right here will peg into right there. And that's how far you move this. So there you go. It pegs in right there. You can see all of this stuff. You move this also until it lines up. You move this out like that, and then you can flip this wing over and you put that there. The landing gear will come out automatically, so that's good. Just make that up like that, and then you can do the same thing over here. Always flip this up first because it's locking, kind of locked on top of this. Then you move that. You can move this out, then this goes out all the way, and then you can flip this all the way out and move this around where you need it. See the peg? You can move this as well. Show it on this side. See where that peg is right there. It'll kind of go in there once you get all this together. Then you move this together like that. Kind of your pegs, like I said, it should go in. It's like suggestive kind of. There you go. Then you can clean it up a little just to make do. And here we go with the plane. And definitely like this plane. I like this plane anyway. Like, I always like the way this plane looked. And yeah, it's cool. It's cool. We got landing gear. We got one in the back. Works well. This and this, they all work well except for the front doesn't touch the ground. And I don't know if it's something I did or not, but I mean, it seems like it would hold it up, but it doesn't touch the ground. So it's like, but it's probably the weakest one. Even this little one back here isn't that weak because when you put it together, it doesn't really move. So it stays out. I thought that was going to give me problems. Yeah, that's it. So let's compare it to a Seeker, and you can see he's almost the same length and actually wider than the Seeker because of the wingspan, the way the jets are. Just different planes. Shout out to Sunstorm, my first ever masterpiece purchase when it first came out years and years ago. Like I said, I really like the plane. I really like what it looks like. Has some paint apps in there with the silver. Has a cockpit. You can kind of open it if you like. And I think that's how the cockpit opens. It slides forward. I'm not sure if it's like a canopy or maybe slides forward. I don't know, but that's cool. You can do that. Has the gun here. It does look like, you know, the mass shifted gun, which they didn't do a great job on it. It is panely. That's the one thing I can say. Like, it is super panely. Doesn't look as clean as FansToys has been doing their vehicles. Like, their vehicles are really clean a lot of times, and that's why they're so complicated. Like, this was complicated, and I can't even say complication. It wasn't super complicated. It's just frustrating, especially in this area with the legs and all of that. Yeah, not much more to show. So let's go back to robot mode. Before we go back, just to be thorough, I'm gonna show this. There's a hole right there. Clamp this on the back of here like this, and just stick this in there. like that, and up there it clamps and it holds the plane. And I gotta find, I don't know if I have any stands. I only have that one right now, like I said, and I can't, it's not connecting to it. So must be a different FansToys stand, maybe a later one, but we will see. So how I go back, I just go backwards. I think it's the easiest way to work with the legs to back to the upper body. So you flip this down here like that. Move this up here, flip this around, and then move this in more. Pull this up here. You want to flip this in, this wheel in, but don't flip this in. That goes last. So you flip the wheel in because this is going to halfway cover it. Flip that in, there's a peg that goes in there, and then flip that over, there's a peg that goes into there. And basically you get the feet done just like that. Move that out, put that down, put that down, move this in, flip this over. Same thing, put that first, and then click it, and then that kind of goes over top a tiny bit, and then you can move this like that, get the feet straight. It should be straight on this arm, but you can worry about once you get all this out. So then you just want to kind of lift this up. It's easy because it's coming apart anyway, so it kind of lends itself to be easier to take this out. So just take that, split that, get it out of the leg. It usually comes out. This is the tighter two pegs, so be careful. You may damage those, I'm not sure. Once you can get that out. Now this is, just push this down here. I usually just push this up, then you can move this around. Move this around, get this out, get this up, get this down. Now you can only push this up one way, the chrome piece. So let's just do one at a time. So once you get that done like that, then you can move this around here. There's a peg there that pegs into there, kind of soft peg. It's not the greatest, not by a long shot, but you want to push this down as well. Push that into there, and then you kind of get this where it needs to go. Flip that around, peg this in like that. Then you can kind of get this together. You see how the chrome piece is to the front more? That's the front of the knee. So you can look and see where the front of the legs are going to be, which is this. Move that to where the front of the knee should be, and then you can worry about getting it together. So I bend it a little like this, so then I can turn this how I want to turn it. And put this in here, get this foot out the way so you can push this up. I'm just gonna peg this. It pegs onto that little fin right there. It just pegs into there. So push this up, peg this on, because then I'll work with trying to get the legs where they need to go. So one thing I forgot, you got to move this around too to create a little space there so this can move into the right spot. And see how I was having issues with it, but then you just move it to the right spot. Then you kind of know where the leg should be. Once you move that up, get everything together when I clean it up. So again with this, did I switch it? No, you gotta move it up. Move this in like that, you can see, and then flip this around and peg it there. You can move this where you need it so you get a little space in there, and can move this up. So let me make sure, there we go. Move this up and it can get that space that it needs in order to click on there. You know, it doesn't stay. Then you can move this how you need it to create the feet. Now we'll fool with this legs last, like trying to get this in. It's not in how it should be. Then we kind of home stretch. Move this up, because then you can get these out of here like this, how you need them. You ain't got to worry about it. Then you want to put the legs, the thighs back together. That's hard. It doesn't feel good. It feels like I'm gonna break it again over here. That one was a little easier, but still not great. Pull that down. But then you just want to keep these wings out the way and till at the end. Move this up on a double hinge. Move this up on a double hinge, which comes to the skirts. Then you can move this back up here. Kind of put that in there like that. Now let the wings go. Move this back. Then you want to move that out, and you're going to move this in there like that. Then this moves around, fits there like that. This pulls out. You kind of pull the head up a little. Flip this in. Flip it down like that, I should say. And then flip this around. It's really short on the clearance, but you can get it in. Then put this in there like that. Now you want to pull these sides out. Hopefully this doesn't fall off with the sides. Sometimes they stay in there when I've done it. This one seems like it wants to stay. There we go. Didn't stay. So then you just accordion this down. Get that in there. Then you can move this part like this and this part like this. And it kind of grips on right here. You can see if you got this all the way down. There we go. Then it goes in there like that. It goes in there like that and grips that and becomes pegs for the wings. Now with the wings, we can close this, pull this down. Wait, what am I talking about? Don't pull it down until you pull this wing up like that. Then you can pull this down, because the whole point of that is it's locked in. You can move this down, move this like this, and move this down here and put it all the way down, because the wheel goes up. Then you put this wing up and peg it into there. Now this goes up like that, and you can move this like this, because this is going to go up in here, and then this little piece spins around. It's on like 2 double hinges. You can see it'll spin around like that and then sit like that. Then you just accordion this up. This goes, kind of sits into there. This goes into here and tabs into that wing to keep all of this together. See all of that? And you can put this, and you see where it's scraping the paint off because it goes into there. I don't even know if that's really the big factor, because it looks like it is, but it's not. And this arm is kind of self-explanatory. You may forget that you got to roll this out like that, but that's pretty much it. I just pulled that out just so I can get this in here. where it's supposed to go. You can move this up here once you take this arm off. Then I already rolled this out. Do this, of course, pull out, and then you collapse. Don't forget to collapse this in. Makes the arm shorter, which I do like that they thought of that. You put that back up, then this closes to keep it closed, and you got an arm. This right here, there we go. Make sure that's right. And over here, start to do the same thing. Move this up to unpeg this. Push that up. You can unpeg that. Flip it down. Flip it forward. Push it all the way down. Pull that out. Put that peg into there. Now this, kind of put that like that. Put this up here. This in here. Close that gap. And move this forward. Don't forget to move the wing forward or it won't line up right. Then we're there. Now for this arm, pull that out like that. Roll this around. Make sure that's out so you can roll this around. Pull this out, pull this, close that, then move that down, close that, and close this in order to clamp it on. So you, oh, and I forgot, I was about to say there's some hollow. No, there's not hollow. There is just a little in the back for the arm, but everything looks good. Move this up here like that. Then you can move this around. I ain't forget about these knees. So now it's a little easier to try to get this where you need it to go. So like I said, I bend it in order to move it like this, because if you try to move it like this, it'll just move on the knee. So I bend it to try to move it independently, and you got to get it just right in order for it to go all the way in. And I don't think it's right. There we go. So it goes all the way in like that, and now you're good. So am I wrong about the knee? No, yeah, I wasn't paying attention. So you see how it's forward, it's almost forward. So just make sure you got that like that. And then this one, again, you see it's the one that's almost forward, and just gotta try to get it to the right spot. Nope, ain't it? Let me see. Let me turn this all the way around, make sure. Yeah, I must be, I have the knee wrong. So if you can't do it, spin it all the way around, and there you go. Like it goes all the way up. Here we are back in robot mode. I don't know if I showed how his hand, how the gun goes into his hand. It just goes into the back, and then the fingers clamp around it. It stays though. It stays fine. And here we are, Powerglide. Yeah, like I said, it's not the greatest action figure because of the stuff. I do like the way it looks personally. So if you like the way it looks, you'll be okay with it. Once you get it, you can get it into poses. Like you can, it has good articulation. It moves. It's just, it can start to fall apart. But once you get it into, like, I'm not the best poser, y'all know this, into some type of pose that you want it in, it'll stay. Look at this crap, this trash pose I got him in. But yeah, you can have him stay in a pose, but it's not great transformation. The materials are iffy, especially for FansToys. No ratchets in the knees. The knees are floppy, just the way they are. They remind me of Warpath, kind of. I know Warpath had a lot of issues with his knees. Mine fell off. So, and just all the floppiness. But if you like the real world style more so than cartoon accuracy, I think this would be the one for you. However, it's not for everybody. So if you have DX9s, I would say maybe paint it. I don't know if you could paint, if it could have this type of paint on it, it would probably be perfect. And it's still a good figure. They're different, like they're two different figures really of the same character. All right, so thank you for joining me, and if you like this, please give me a thumbs up and let me know, or a thumbs down if you didn't, and I will get up with you in another one. Peace.
You know, life ain't over, life ain't over, life ain't over. As long as you alive, you can give another try and take it real high if you want.